Live.
Yeah, we can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
hear you just fine.
Okay, we
so
got
whenever you
15
want to fire
seconds.
up,
That give me enough time?
yes,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
plenty. Thank you.
I just went to a quick
Sorry
break.
for the delay.
No
Yeah.
worries. We figured it out.
We're
Okay.
here.
Yes, we are. And I think the chat is here.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Now, live from Chicago, the Hal Sparks radio program Mega Worldwide.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Hal Sparks, actor, comedian, and multimedia personality.
And I'm all out of bubble.
Hal Sparks.
All right, let's do this.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Sorry for the delay this morning. Technical issues beyond our control. I am still in Kentucky, taking care of my dad with my stepmom and a parade of other relatives. Last night was a rough one. So I got these little chunks of sleep, and then that was it. So beg your pardon if my thoughts misfire, which brings me to the topic of Donald Trump's health. Nothing.
He seems fine to me. That nap that he took sitting upright in the middle
Very
of
good.
a press conference that
You
he
need
called
sleep. Yes.
seemed like it looked a lot like my naps that happen when I'm in the middle of an important conversation at work.
Or even talking to me sometimes. We've had some great conversations. Damn it. Johnny, quit it. That's why I bought the cattle prod. It just doesn't work over the air. I'm going to get those. I've been working very hard using AI and all kinds
for that remote to work. I got to put the thing on.
That's right. You've got to insert the attachment.
Insert.
Well, yeah. You don't think you're getting off easy, do you? Come on now. I'm gonna see if I can throw the chat in here and see. There you guys are.
Hi.
And hello, everybody. Thank you guys for your patience all week. It has been a wild and woolly ride this week, to say the very least. So to catch everybody up, just because I know some folks are wondering, so we can get past this point. My dad stopped dialysis almost 2 weeks ago, and the prognosis is about 2 weeks. So that gives you an idea of where we are. And to keep myself from getting too emotional about it, because I feel like at some point I'm like, I got to run out of tears. I just have to. And then he has another friend of his visit who are just lovely human beings who I adore myself. And then they say something that, wonderful to him. And then I'm a mess. So yeah, that's where we are. And just when I thought it would get easier. Okay, so what I was saying was,
I'd like you to see my new. I moved offices, if you can see.
Very nice. Yeah,
things are looking good behind me. The weather, it's going to clear up a bit. I've got some raking to do. You can't really tell because the leaves are still green over here, but
yeah. I like your ultra modern design style. It goes in complete contrast to how I normally see you, so that's good.
Yeah, the plexiglass that actually keeps the otters in the habitat.
Does it? Well, we've been talking about we have river otters here.
I love river otters.
Yes, and you'll be driving down the road occasionally, especially as it starts to get cooler and they want to get to the warmer water. You'll see these like 5 little black heads just pop up and just, looking around like Muppets.
Oh my goodness.
And then you stop your car or you pass. They're smarter than the deer. And then they crawl across the street and then they're gone, and it's super adorable. And anyway, so one of the things I've been dealing with my dad is the myriad of things when you have renal failure is fluid buildup and toxins build up in your system, and that's really what takes you in the end. That's really what breaks you down. And when I got here, his feet looked like balloons, and I have been massaging his feet for days, and they look like feet again, which is nice.
Good.
And
look at that.
And and when he's sort of in and out, he falls asleep a lot because he's exhausted just by life and the experience of this.
Yeah, and he's having a meeting about Ozempic. I get it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. He's He's pretending to be asleep so he can ignore the people collapsing behind him.
Yep.
And and so I've been working on his feet like that, and it reminded me that in all this talk about Trump's cankles, and right, and let's be honest, the phrase cankles came from people who were overweight, whose fat reached such an extreme that their ankles started to look like their calves. There was no distinction between the calf size and the ankle size. The leg.
And you're making it sound like something of an accomplishment. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I know you've been working on it for a long time.
I have. I'll get there.
But and so that's become the storyline with Trump, is his cankles, and they talk about his cankles and stuff. Well, at some point, Donald Trump may have had cankles where it was simply fat, but it is not. It is the pooling of fluid in his extremities due to bad circulation, not just of blood. That is not just blood. That is fluid in your body, lymph, and all kinds of other stuff that build up because of gravity and start to just work their way down. Now, as I was, because I love my dad, and I was working on his feet, you'll recall, Johnny Million, perhaps, is that when my dad's an architect, and when he worked in Florida, and I would spend summers with him, and in Chicago, he did hand drafting. This is in the days before 100% CAD, where people did hand drawings. As a matter of fact, I am leaning up against his drafting table that he has, is this glass drafting table that he had made, that he has had since we lived in Kentucky.
That is so wild.
Yeah, and it's the same table with these. He built it himself with these guide wires on the side of it to hold the drawings down while he drafted. And he would hand draft a lot. And so I would sit there, and he would come home and his arms would be tired. And so as the houseboy, when he was not married, he'd be like, "Oh, my arms." And I would sit there and I would massage my dad's forearms and his upper arm, especially on his right side, where he'd been drafting all day.
It feels amazing. Mrs. Million is very nice to me with that after I played for a very long time.
Yes, it's very necessary, especially if you're doing a lot of stuff that leads to carpal tunnel and those kind of things. Yep. It's one of the best things you can do if you have a partner or a loved one or a friend who goes through that. Just, help the blood circulate through their forearm and their wrist and their upper arm. So I did this for my dad my whole life, essentially. And it helped. And so now I'm doing it for him on his arms, and it's almost like muscle memory. Like he's just remembering that it felt nice then.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And it feels good. And he'll occasionally say, just in between mini naps, he'll go, "Oh, I'm levitating," or something like that. He'll say something.
Wow.
He'll say, "That's wonderful," or something.
Aww.
Which is really nice. And doing his feet, same thing. But his feet were never an issue. But as I'm working on them, I became acutely aware that all this talk about Donald Trump's cankles is kind of lost on the fact that, again, it's not fat, it's fluid.
Right.
And we've seen them multiple times, and he hides them now behind the desk.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
What that says to me is that no one is working on them like I am with my dad.
Who would touch him?
Right. Well, that's it. Well, they've got a team of doctors. He brought it up on the airplane. That
again and again.
Yes. And that is different. First of all, I mentioned this last week, but they always have a team of doctors on Air Force One. They always do. And the president usually does not see them at all.
Yeah.
President, and somebody was asking, yes, I have a sister. She and her husband came up, but they work a lot, and Jill's not this isn't her wheelhouse. So she and her husband's got leukemia, so they're taking care of him all the time too. So, but he keeps working. He's been at it. He's had it since 2014, and he's just been fighting it with chemo and taking care of himself. And he's a beast, bless his heart. But it occurred to me that while I was working on my dad's legs, no one is doing that for Trump. No one. There are no family members who are coming by checking on him. There's Don Jr. and Eric sure aren't doing it. If anything, they're yelling at someone to do something, but they have no idea what that something is.
Yeah.
And like, again, as I'm, oh, baby kitty,
You
that's
hear
okay.
her?
We have my dad's dog Chance is running for best dog in a Disney film right now. He is
Aw.
absolutely Pixar in his, like, coming up and putting his nuzzle under my dad's hand and trying to get it on top of the whole thing. And that's like, that's as bad as his, as his friends coming by. So on top of that, that's the other thing too, is my dad has this parade of bluegrass musicians and friends and fishing buddies and hunting buddies.
So
and
wild.
all these guys. Just, there have been dozens of people just coming to want to sit and tell him how much they love him while he's going through this. And I'm telling you, Trump is going to have none of that. He might have, well, I take that back. He might have a grandkid or two that only knows grandpa from the limited amounts,
right.
and is on best, my dad and my grandfather didn't have the best of relationships, and they were good at the end. But when it came to us grandkids, when we went to see our granddad, we didn't know all that stuff, and we shouldn't necessarily.
Right.
And so we were there just for grandpa. So maybe I would hope that there's some element to that, not even for him, but for them. Maybe they can have a myth of grandpa that he was actually sweet, and they can carry that with them, and that'll inform their behavior. But in watching all of this stuff, I'm increasingly aware that there is this huge gap in Trump's family life and in his surroundings with all these yes men and stuff. I tell my dad no several times when he wants to get up in the middle of the night when he doesn't have to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he's fighting it, and he thinks he's late for something half the time now. He's he's got to get up. His habit of breakfast, shower, day is changed. It's just done. It is that no longer has to be the thing. So, like, convincing him to relax and take care of himself is as much a part of the work as possible. That we do as possible. Just trying to not, if he's going to exert himself, save it for when it's something he wants, someone wants to talk to him and he wants to see them.
Right.
And again, the sort of moments of confusion that he has because he's got toxic buildup in his system, and then his moments of clarity that he has are, really, like, I'm comparing it with what we know about where Trump is and that guy collapsing in the White House this week, which I have to admit was a moment of hilarity that we all needed around here in the household. So
what a picture.
The best part, I can't decide, Johnny Million, what the best part was. I can't decide if it was his weird leaned staring at the guy where he was frozen.
Like right initially,
the very first when he got up and turned around. There was also RFK Jr. beating feet out of the room because he does not want to be photographed near someone who collapses because he'll catch the blame for it.
That is a modicum of self-awareness I did not anticipate from him.
I mean, I would think that whenever there's real trouble around that requires an adult to help, either he gets out of there because he knows he isn't one. That would be his moment of clarity. Yeah, the theory was the guy was on Ozempic and got lightheaded.
It was one of the executives, right?
Yes, it was. But he was also he wasn't just a dealer; he was a user. And he thinks
I'm not just the hair club president. That's right.
Yeah, he passed out from his plugs. And the funny part being him standing up and just kind of leaning over the guy, and then him realizing they're probably photographing me leaning over this guy. So I better stand up and turn around and, I don't know, be in charge. What do you think was going through his head at that moment, Johnny Million? When he was, my favorite thing was his tapping of his fingers on the desk.
I think it was like, I know I should be doing something.
Yes, but I have no idea what
I don't know what it is.
Yes. And so, hold on. I want to make sure I have to get the link I sent you. Can you send that to Andrea so she can send it to Phil? I just realized.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So in dealing, I mean, the other thing that I'm abundantly aware of, because we are in Kentucky, ladies and gentlemen, and they have a little thing called, I think it's Kentucky Connect is the ACA program here in Kentucky. And my mom, who worked in home health services after she retired as a nurse, she went to work for the state, and then she did vaccinations and medical help. Her job, my mom's job, was going around to hospice care facilities, making sure they weren't putting out cigarettes on the patients to make them shut up.
Jesus.
That's basically it. Yeah. And I'm joking, but they did pretty well. But that was her job, was that she went and checked on the patients, took all their vitals, made sure they were, as healthy as they are expected or could be. That was her job.
Yeah.
And we've had, in dealing with my dad entering hospice, and he's doing it at home. He's not going anywhere. He's going to stay here till he's done. And we had a social worker come from the state to check on him to make sure that his DNR, his do not resuscitate, was signed, wasn't under duress, and there's not somebody sitting like a buzzard over his nest egg or something like that, because that's a thing. And we've had hospice care workers come here, and they're lovely. They have, they brought us a walker that did not work because it was too wiggly for him. So we ended up getting him a wheelchair so we could get him to places where he wouldn't exert himself. So he didn't want to eat in the kitchen. He didn't want to eat in the front room because he would look across the house, across the living room, and just imagine trying to walk that distance and say, no, I'll eat here or I'll stay. So he couldn't join us for breakfast and those kind of things, which he wanted to do. So having him in a wheelchair has made it lovely because we can get him where he needs to go, including the places we all take for granted during the day, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
And, even this morning, just like helping him with his shower and all that kind of stuff, in and out and all that stuff is a major undertaking. And the hospice care workers, for all the decrying in red states all over the place of the government can't do anything right, during this most crucial period, I cannot sing the praises of the hospice care workers and the social workers that have come to the house and helped high enough in the state of Kentucky. And it is, again, a very red state where if you asked any of these people, anything the government does is the DMV and everything else is terrible. But in reality, if you ask them in the moment while they were getting services like this, they would say the exact same thing I am. And so in effect, this is where I kind of came up with that phrase, we don't need them to see the light, we just need them to see the lie. Red state people live a lie. Now, there is confirmation bias all around, and this is the stuff that gets thrown around when people start calling me a centrist or whatnot, that every side of an argument has, a point of view that they come from that is either legit or locked in or both, or based on a common misconception, which is what Trump calls common sense. And there's that mix means that you've got blank spots in your awareness of something that you didn't know were there until somebody brought it up. And this is why debate and argument are solid. That's why it's important.
Yeah.
And these folks, certainly there are areas where, and also people in the chat, I know I look tired. Thank you very much.
I told them to say that, Hal.
So much. Yeah. And there's a funny reason. It's because I am.
That's weird.
Yeah. And, but you have to know something about red state people. They don't just live the lie, they tell you. They live a lie they tell themselves.
Yeah.
All the time.
Because they've been fooled.
They rely on government services more than people in blue states do.
Yep.
They are someone. They constantly walk with a crutch, and if you point it out, they will tell you you're insane. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But if they start to fall over, they will yell for their crutch.
There you go.
And we are seeing that with SNAP benefits in a lot of the red states. The blue states, those big mean blue states with all the tax base, are backfilling SNAP benefits as best they can during this period. And why does Donald Trump want to pay SNAP benefits? Of all things, Republicans are against SNAP. Let's just start there. They think any kind of welfare, any kind of support like this is full of rampant fraud. It's all full of fakers and liars, and that it promotes weakness. That once you're on it, you just stay on it. Now, let me tell you something,
baby.
That's right. Let me tell you something. That is true for a percentage of the populace, but the percentage is so low that you would have to risk cutting off all the people who genuinely need it just to go after the 5% or so that shuffle in and out of it and take from it and don't deserve it and don't need it for spite.
Oh, they dig spite, though. That's their wheelhouse. What if that one guy I'm going to help is actually trans?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or is selling their food stamps for liquor or whatever. It's the same argument you have about homeless people. Like if I give him money, he's just going to buy drugs or whatever, or he's going to buy that. And then there's the bank shot idea. And we're going to take a break in a minute. And I'll tell you what, the California rule is one of the things they wanted to end in the big BS bill that allows California to tax Medicare, Medicaid benefits so that they can pay for the people who don't qualify and extend that further than the federal government allows them to do. Now, if California was a state where you had fewer, if it was a taker state, like the red states, I would argue that would be the same problem we run into with red states, where they use they always want block grants. If you ever hear a Republican talk about how they want to dole out federal funds, it's always in block grants. Give me the money and I'll do what I want with it. But the problem is, what they do is they spend it on whatever their priorities are in their governmental system, whether it's salaries or a tank for the police or something like that. They take that money and they dole it out how they want it. And if you specify, they get mad when you specify that it has to go to schools or school lunches. Just give us a block grant to make up for the hole in our budget. That's what a block grant is. A block grant for red states is a cork for the budget hole they have created. These bootstrapper, live within your means crowd always have budget deficits, just like a lot of cities do, especially when they've gone through things like COVID or 2008 or 9/11 or what have you. They're going to have, or a tornado or, something like that. They're going to have holes in their budget that they never caught up to. And they're not going to bother. They're going to try and allocate more funds from the federal government for those things via block grant. And then you look at these projects in places, post Katrina, for example, Louisiana, where they got a block grant to fix these things, and they never fixed them because they used the money to patch a hole in their budget so they can say, we've got we don't have a budget deficit. Unlike these big blue cities, these big blue states, we don't run a debt. Well, that's because the big blue cities and the big blue states are plugging that hole. Let's take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, now with 100% more. Johnny Million.
That's me.
Yeah.
All right, I got to mute. I'll be right back. Hang in there, buddy.
Yep, gotcha. We're good. Hi, chat room. I don't know why my chat room on this side won't wake up. It has to go to, where is it here? Which one? Close settings. Appearance. All right. Just going to go to this. I just have to open the restream in here. Well, I guess I'll just open it on this side. All right. Pop this in here. Thanks, guys. Yeah, as a You guys are very
60
sweet.
seconds.
Thank you. It's good to see you guys too. Thanks for being so patient this week, chat room. I honestly thought at some point I would be able to do a show or something, or at least pop on and catch up. But I got to be honest, like every time I even thought about doing it, I would get so emotional. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to talk. It won't.
Yeah.
And then honestly, another mild emergency would happen. So luckily my cousin and my stepmom's brother are here. And so they're helping with the heavy lifting.
Good.
Yeah. But it's nice to know that my dad's a big dude. My dad is Johnny Million size.
He is. He's a big guy.
He is. He's a big dude. 6'2". He's a little
5
shorter
seconds.
than you. Thank you. But he's more physically dense.
Oh yeah.
Just a tough old bird.
Now back to Hal Sparks on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT.
So in watching all these, one of the things I want to point out that I was right about again was, if you'll notice, when you start talking about like SNAP benefits and these kind of things, and red state senators start coming out and defending it and saying this is necessary and families count on this stuff. Boy, they start to sound like Democrats as soon as as soon as there's some real governing to do, as soon as they start having to actually lead, as soon as they.
Yeah, it's the whole thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes, that's exactly right. Although
she wants to keep her power.
That's right. I also think she's just nuts, and there's an element of that nuttiness does not have loyalty to it. It is not, her particular kind of craziness is devoid of loyalty. It is
right.
It is spite, really, and that's not loyalty. So the idea that she was a Trump supporter and that she loves Trump and all that kind of stuff was really because of what she thought she could get from Trump.
Yep, sure.
And
I think that's what everybody. That's why everybody's connected to him.
Yeah. So there was a new poll from Politico that came out today that said the quote typical Trump supporter would be paying $65 more per month in taxes. They said they would be willing to pay $65 more if it meant supporting his agenda. But after the Democratic sweep this week, Jessica Piper argued that Trump's policies, which some critics have blamed for the rising cost of goods and energies, have officially gone too far for Trump voters. The Politico poll results are a reminder that while many of Trump supporters have a reputation for intense loyalty, they also have a breaking point. Tuesday's election results suggest that despite Republican voters' willingness to pay a literal price for Trump's policies, the Trump agenda to date may have pushed voters too far. So the issue that they have is that we knew this was never going to work.
Yeah.
We also knew, and there was an article I was going to fall over. I've only scanned a couple of things, like when I would get a breakaway and just kind of like we're working in shifts here. My stepmom's like, okay, he's asleep in the chair. I'll watch him go take a break, take a walk, do something, just so we can keep our mental health and our physical health in check.
Yeah.
I went to the gym and worked back and shoulders because I was like, that's what it's going to take. That while I was, going through all this, one of the things that Bloomberg had an article about it. There may have even been one in Axios about the price of oil hovering around 60 and looking to drop. Why? Because of a glut in oil.
What?
Now, does anybody in the chat room remember who told you that there was going to be a glut no matter who was president, and the price of oil was going to come down this fall and continue to fall? Is anybody at all, when everybody else was saying the price was going to keep going up or go to 100, and Trump was talking about,
I think it was Boston Brian. Brian used to beat that drum.
That's right. That's right. I've been talking about this for a while because of everybody was building towards China being this giant market for oil, and that went away. And I said it was going away, and I said we were overproducing here anyways, and that you could tell when stuff flared in the Middle East, when Russian oil got taken off the market, and the price didn't shift. That meant there's already too much production. And OPEC Plus, the Saudis and all of Trump's buddies over there who are giving him Gulf, clubs and literal clubs, not the clubs to play with, but an actual, a course with a club attached to build over there for billions of dollars that he will never set foot on, by the way.
Right.
By the time they're done, they will roll him around and he can peek at them maybe. But that's maybe. But I said they were trying to hold those guys. They were telling the lower producing countries, Kuwait and others, to like lower their production so they could keep the price relatively high so they could get towards their break-even price. But they couldn't do it. And I called it. I was like, this is, and Trump's like, price of energy is way down. Texas price of energy is way down. And I'm like, it was going to be down. And it's going to keep going down for demographic reasons. It's going to keep going down for the markets that were going to open that aren't going to be there. The lack of reliance that Europe has shifted away from. They're restarting nuclear plants and they're getting away from Russian oil and natural gas because they came as a package. Once that oil, if Russia ever retreated, got new leadership, and their oil got back on the market, the price will drop to COVID levels because there is too much of it. And that's not going to change. The other thing is that when you reshore factories, when you want to bring manufacturing back home, and that's how you're going to bring jobs back home, well, guess what? Those aren't cheap jobs. Those people that are going to work at these factories, however few they are going to want to make money that allows them to live reasonably in the United States. They are not going to be earning China dollars or Indian dollars in that regard. China. They're not going to be able to survive. We talk a lot about how some countries, they like, these people survive on $5 a week. Well, that's because the cost of things around them is $3 a week. So it sounds terrible to us, but it's relative. But when you move it here, it ain't. Oh, look at the kid. When you move it,
he was about to dive at the green screen.
Right. Hi, buddy. Yeah.
Don't kiss me, Dad.
Yeah. Right. This is the other issue: is that when you bring this work home, you drive the cost of those goods up. And then when you remove immigrant labor who are allowed to work for a lower wage willingly under the table, you remove them from the equation before you can automate the process that they are doing, price is going to go up. There's going to be either because of supply and demand, because you're only going to have less stuff making it to market. Stuff is going to rot on the vine. It's never going to make it to sale. And or the people that you can hire are not going to work for $2 an hour, because that's a lot of money to send home, but it is not the kind of stuff. Thank you, Jen. And thank you, Lady Beatrice, for your super chats. I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry I didn't mention the ones earlier too. All of those things raise prices permanently. I'm live right now, Mutant, but then of course, maybe I said that last week, so it'd be hard to tell. So those prices go up and they stay that way. And if you want to look to, the inflation caused by an insular market, look at Japan and look at how the yen pricing goes to everything. Now, again, the pricing is relative, but a $500 TV here is 500,000 yen, because that's how it had to go up, because they don't have immigrant labor on the level that they would need to make up for this slack. They have to pay their people to do the work if they want any of the work done. or they have to buy the goods that they need, and they can't tariff them because they need them badly.
Yeah.
Trump is trying to make us Japan circa 1989. Donald Trump, we know he lives in the past. He thinks you handle movies, you handle cops, and crime like it's a Van Damme or a Chuck Norris movie in the late 80s, or Dirty Harry. Although Dirty Harry was brutally progressive as a series of movies. Go rewatch them. They're way ahead of the times.
That's so wild to even imagine.
Yep. That, like, again, well, we'll save that review for a day after Trump is gone. I will go through the whole thing about how everything you think about Dirty Harry is wrong. But in the same time, like, Trump thinks of it in terms of more like a Van Damme film, I suppose. But where the bad guy gets hit with a spear gun and flies into an electrical cable and dies. So technically, or gets kicked and goes into an electrical box. So technically he's dead, but I didn't kill him. All I did was kick him. He just fell into the electrical cables. That was the way they got around it in the late 80s. And so Trump has this idea. Oh, we got to take a break. Trump has this idea that that's how you handle things. He also thinks that Japan in 1989 was a success and they were kicking our butts, like with the movie Gung Ho and the like, which, by the way, is a Chinese, no, it was a Japanese company. Never mind. Don't get me started. But he thinks that's how it should go. But it shouldn't, because look at what happened in 1990/1991 to Japan. We'll be back right after this. And we have, hold on one second. Close this down. And then I think, there we go. Phil is in there somewhere. I'm going to turn this on. I don't see his camera yet. PI. Philip Bittner, PI. All right, I will, hold on. I'll leave him off for a second. Let's see. Oh, no, there he is. Okay, good. There he's in. Phil, can you hear us okay? Nope. Okay. I guess not.
Okay.
Oh, he's back. Okay, give me 1 second. There he is. There you go. And Phil, can you hear us okay? You hear us okay?
I can, but it's really laggy.
Okay, that might be just
I got
parcel. Okay, it'll catch up. Sometimes it just takes a while to kind of get in sync.
No, I also have no power. We're in a blackout.
Okay. Yeah, we have battery backups on all my dad's stuff here. His oxygen tank and his lift chair. So I went yes, yesterday I was worried about Carol, so I having to get him up out of his seat and falling against her on the fireplace. I'm like, just nightmare flashes of that. So I drove over to the this patient care place where they have these we call it the ejection seat. These they're zero gravity chairs. They're recliners, but they also go this way. Oh, we lost Phil again. He'll be back. Okay. There he is. Okay. Add stream. There you go. Oh, there he goes. And so it's very good because it lifts him up, and then all he's got to really do is kind of stand forward, and then we can set him in his wheelchair. And I was like, I don't even know if it'll fit in the truck because they have a little SUV, like a little hatchbacky kind of thing. But I was like, I will make it work. If I have to drive back like Jed Clampett with it attached to the roof, that's what I'm going to do. Luckily, it was in parts, so it fit in the back. So I was able to assemble it here. But yeah, it's been a godsend because you can leave it up. You can also like sit him back against it and then lower him into his seat.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We are back in 20.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would say to anybody who has a family approaching this at all, do that early. I would have gotten one a month and a half ago, probably, just to save the energy of going through stuff.
Yeah.
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 And I apologize again, Phil, for being exhausted, but.
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out of me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
Well, I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Puss-faced little pimpstick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
So here in the States, grocery prices have gone up 30%. Trump has argued that because Walmart says Thanksgiving will be 25% cheaper because it is 5 elements fewer. If you take out 5 ingredients, 5 parts of the dinner, and you buy generic, it's 25% cheaper than it was last year. So it is not, the prices have not gone down. You just get less, which is a very easy way. That's how everybody saves money on food. Don't buy as much. It's amazing. Yeah. The idiocy around this is shocking. And it starts to point to our dear friend Philip Bittner joining us, host of On the Edge, who's live in Kyiv where the power is out currently. You can see how a man with that much tapioca for brains would actually be convinced that Vladimir Putin is still his friend.
Yeah.
And as he gets, I got to say, as he gets older, I was saying earlier about my dad's like parade of friends that have come by who genuinely love him and are holding his hand and telling him they love him so much and all this stuff. And they mean it. And they're all broken up when they leave the house. It's just this, tears in, tears out kind of, that those friends mean more to you as you're going.
Right.
And Trump, oddly enough, is still a human being with the human weaknesses that he has tried to pretend he does not have. And the irony is that he is going to cling to the friendships he believes he has harder than ever as his brain starts to fade. And those people are people that he can brag about, that he also considers friends, like Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un of all people. Like he is increasingly talking about them like they were childhood buddies. They have a great relationship. Not just, they get along, which is what he pushed early, but this idea that they used to play on the playground together or something. You can count on it. It is going to get more like that. He's going to weep about his friendship with Vladimir Putin at some point, because that's how good the hypnosis was, or whatever it was that took when they, when he brainwormed in there with him.
Right.
So, Phil, if you would catch us up on where you are and what's going on over there, and then I'm sure we have questions from the chat for you, and then your ride is there. Kidding.
Well, I mean, we've been having blackouts throughout the country. But it's particularly been bad today. We've had some good days, some bad days, but ever since the massive attack that happened about 10 days ago, we've been put back onto power rationing. So we're,
Phil's going to come in and out, everybody. I apologize.
Yeah.
It's going to drop. It's okay. And I'm adding him back. Give me 1 second. There you are. You're back. Sorry. Continue. Sorry about that.
His audio went away.
I think it'll be delayed. I think the audio will probably catch up in a second, maybe.
Okay.
We don't hear your audio, Phil. Beg your pardon. I don't know if you can hear us, but one of the, there's been a bunch of acts within Russia of he's going to try and reconnect, of defiance. Both people helping the Ukrainians by attacking different sites. And then also a portrait of Navalny was placed opposite the Russian embassy in The Hague. Oh, there's a cat. Okay. Phil, can you hear us okay? At all?
Yeah, I can hear
There you
you,
are.
but yeah.
You're good.
Sorry, guys. I wanted to be on because I'm leaving to be back in the States for the next 3 weeks. But with the power outage, this is going to be tricky. I can already
Understood.
tell.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the States for the next 3-4 weeks. Well, a week in Europe. So we've been focusing on filming episodes to kind of take us through that period. But and I wanted to join you for the show today, but I got to tell you, I think we're gonna struggle.
Okay, that's fine. Let's try and get through this first segment. We'll see what we can do, and if you have to drop out, we'll pick it up from there because God knows there's plenty to talk about here. So don't worry about that as much. We just wanted to check in with you and make sure that you're okay as well. Like I said, Russia has stepped up its attacks, and I gotta say, a lot of this feels like increasingly taking advantage of Trump's distraction and his brain turning to mush. Is that he's just ignoring whatever they do, and like I said, I honestly believe we are not that far from Donald Trump getting a tear in his eye talking about his dear friend Vladimir Putin. I'm not kidding, because of his peculiar, increasingly bizarre behavior, and his brain fail that is happening. And the one thing I've noticed from my dad is that once it starts, that cascade, there's a slow decline and then there's a steep decline.
Yeah.
And Trump is rapidly approaching that steep decline, and everyone around him knows this. And so that tells me Vladimir Putin has to know this, because he's got buddies in the administration that are back channeling to him all the time, including Melania, that we now know that Melania talks to him. Okay, so Phil, maybe on this note, I saw an interview recently with a woman who was a Russian honeypot. That was her job. She was trained by her father was in the KGB. She was trained by the FSU to honeypot. She was in charge of getting guys under the drug trade under control. So she lived with this head guy of one of the sort of Russian, Turkmenistan cartels or something like that did opium out of Afghanistan, and she was supposed to keep him in line and help the Russians make money off of that by feeding them intel and all this stuff. And there was a big, there's an awareness that she talked about how this was how they strategized, where the Chinese believe that cognitive warfare is a legit plane of battle. The Russians believe that about sex. The Chinese have taken a little bit of that, but they're less successful. The Russians have absolutely done this. And Melania and her father's, I think, attachment to the former KGB and all that stuff lines up with exactly what this lady was talking about as a handler. Yeah. So the idea that she has a back channel about Ukraine kids sounds like cover to me increasingly. And if anybody's feeding them he's on the downturn, it very well could be her.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. I mean,
whoop, and then it falls out. All right, he pop back in. Okay, here we go. Whoops, I think we added him back in. Give me 1 second. There we go. Gotcha. Sorry, there's a lot to unpack. You were saying, and frozen. Nope, there we go. A lot to unpack. Yeah, we can't hear him. We can't hear you
yet. He looks good, though.
Yeah, that's all right. You know what, Phil? Don't worry about it. We'll pick this up when you're stateside, and you can call in from a good line or something like that, and we'll kind of retrospectively, when you got some distance.
Please travel safely, sir.
Yeah. So he's going to duck out. I got to say, Johnny Million, I always thought you were sort of the perfect target for that kind of stuff. I won't add him back to the stream. I'll just let him tap out and Yeah. And
the perfect target for a Russian honeypot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I would believe it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yes. And I know someone personally.
I'm just dying for a friend here, Hal.
Who is a hacker on a red team, and magically decent looking dude, but not, nothing to write home about, like in our ballpark, not a Brad Pitt. Suddenly has this supermodel looking Russian girlfriend who married him, and for about and he just happened to be a hacker with security clearance that worked for off and on for the State Department, basically rebutting all these hacking groups. And I remember him like telling me about his wife, who never came out to things. That was the other thing, is that she didn't he also did stand up. So she would never come to shows or any of that kind of stuff. She was never around in the social circles. She was just always, at home or someplace. But they definitely got married, and they were married for about 3 to 5 years, whatever it was.
Wow.
And and it was, I've never had an antenna go up so fast about something like that. But after listening to this interview that this woman gave, it was like by the numbers.
Yeah.
It was almost, I was almost impressed, except it seemed hack after a while. Like, how do you not see that coming in some ways? Let's take a break. We'll come back right after this and kind of get our thoughts together. And then I know people had questions about stuff there, but if anybody else has any other questions about stuff in particular, especially the election results this week, which we have a lot to talk about in that regard, we'll talk about that after the break. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Are you watching, have you watched much Slow Horses on Apple TV?
I have not.
It's Gary Oldman is, he's an FBI or the MI5 agent who's been demoted to this.
For break back in 20.
Thank you.
Thank you. He's been demoted to this house that it's all the rejects go there, but they end up solving all of the cases for everybody. And this most recent season is all about a Russian honeypot. It's amazing. Oh, it's so great. And the guy that they
This
target
is Damian
is just
Perdue
perfect.
of Think Theory Radio. Saturdays at 6 p.m. You're listening to Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So, sorry about that. Phil had to drop out because they have very little power there, and he wanted to touch base and make sure everybody knows he's okay too. Because it's one of those things where if we miss Phil for a week, everybody rightly is concerned about his safety, because we have seen increasingly that an emboldened Russia in an attempt to kind of, if eventually they think Trump in his tapioca brain fever is going to hand them over a piece of the country, they want that to be as big a piece as possible, and that the rebuilding of Kyiv and other places to be as expensive as possible, so that round 3 is easier. But let's be abundantly clear: the Russians are salami slicing their way across Europe, and there is no question about this. The idea that the NATO expansion was the reason for this. Again, anybody can go back to the 1997 Russia-NATO founding agreement, which I seem to be the only person who brings it up, and what they agreed to then. And if you think that they're attacking Ukraine because of NATO expansion or not an inch east and all that business, you can read the whole thing and then roll it up and insert it in yourself afterwards. And so you always have a copy on hand, is my point.
Thank
you.
Now,
now the elections this week were I can't tell what I liked most about them. Trump's flip out or Mike Johnson's flop sweat. There is
they cannot. They're normally decent at agreeing on a talking point. They cannot find one that works for them.
Well, okay. To have a talking point, you have to have a clear plan or a clear rebuttal. You have to either say, I have another plan and this is what we're pushing specifically for this purpose to solve the problem that is in front of us. We are doing this instead. And everybody get on board for our solution. That's how, when Democrats miss that, it's because no solution will solve all problems. And therefore, Democrats have a habit of tiptoeing around their own solutions, which I have called a mistake, and they must never do again. Never fall for that. Because if you don't you defend what you have done, never mind fighting for what you haven't gotten yet. If you can't stand up for what you already have done and be proud of it, the idea that you have a mandate or an electoral strength behind you that will push you to where Republicans have to be afraid of Democrats staying united and pushing for years and years and years, the way they did to get the Supreme Court. If they feared that Democrats would, be that way, and that the stuff that could come up would get more and more extreme, as they say, then they would be willing to compromise on the regular stuff way more often.
Yeah.
Because they would fear that Democrats would stay united for at least real progress. 2 step forward and 1 step back is still 1 step forward.
Yeah.
And people need to recognize that. It's the other way around that we get when people vote and then don't vote, and then, vote and then immediately start complaining. Like this idea that they were talking about holding Biden's feet to the fire within days of him being elected. But then when Trump gets elected, he's treated like a bear that's roaming through a apartment complex. They're just like, I don't know, hands off. I can't.
Just vote. This is what happens when we vote.
Yes. And it's not that hard. Again, if you're ever confronted with a choice between the lesser of two evils, choose less evil. Works every time. And the idea that making perfection the enemy of the good is not only wrong, it's ethically and morally horrible. It's dismissive of the real progress that you make and the lives helped by that real progress, step by step. Ladders have more than one rung for a reason. We are not pole vaulting here, and you never will. And as long as you recognize that, then you realize that the government part is constant gardening, and then the rest you do yourself. It's amazing to me how many people will remember to recycle every week, but not vote every election.
Right?
Adorable. Right. So, and one of the, things about Trump after this election, the polling numbers that he is getting from his own people, and the fact that his tariffs are not working, nor will they ever work. They will never work, because they will raise prices. Even if they bring jobs back, that will entail raising prices, period, end of story. And so, Trump increasingly, I said one of the ways we're going to get, Trump is by shoving the presidency down his throat. That there is work. That is it's funny to me when people tout winning an election, when you get a job, and in some cases, one of the hardest jobs there is.
Holy moly.
And so, Trump probably is the first president in a long time to give an honest reaction to winning both times. Just kind of like, ugh, here we go. Because that's really what it is. It's a great job, and public service is a wonderful thing, but it is a heavy burden to carry. It ages every president. It didn't age Trump the first time because he doesn't care about other people. Empathy will age you. Worry and concern will age you. And right now, because he knows he's a lame duck, he knows he's running out of time, and all of his masterful plans are not working, as much as he would like to lie about that. We catch this shot of him not only sleeping during the meeting this week, but droopy-faced sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
See the picture?
The right
side of his face starting to melt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So ever since that picture, the first picture of him with his right side of his face drooping happened, he has been squinting a lot more and doing that forced smile that he does, where he flattens out his upper lip, where he pushes his chin forward.
I mean, aside from it being undeniably hot, there's no other reason he would do it.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, look, Johnny, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but barf. Yeah. So in that, he falls asleep in this meeting. Not only does he fall asleep, but so deeply his face starts to melt again. And again, when his face does that, I always think it looks like he took a glimpse inside the Ark of the Covenant and then shut the lid really fast. He didn't go full Nazi melt, but he got, just enough to.
Yeah, no, if you close it quick enough, the effects it'll stop. You won't keep melting.
That's right. Yeah, right. He just took a peek. They took him to the place. You want to have a peek? Boom. And then of course, same situation. Look, all the Sleepy Joe stuff is going to come back to haunt him. All the, Biden doesn't have the cognitive awareness to do his job, is going to come back to, again, never underestimate Donald Trump's ability to F up a free lunch. And he will, everything he said, every complaint he has is a complaint he has about somebody else is a confession about what he wants. Like, for example, the auto pen. The auto pen, I mentioned this before, but the auto pen thing is he wants to use it, but it's become a poking point with Biden that Biden used it for stuff, so I can't. Now, there is no way he hand-signed every pardon for all the Jan 6ers. There were, I think, 1,200 to 1,600.
Oh, he's proving that.
No way. He used the auto pen for that, and there's no question. And I guarantee all of them have their pardon framed at home, and the signature is identical on all of them. And at one point, these Jan 6ers are going to hang out and get a picture. Oh, Chicago's playing this music? All right, there we go.
No.
I was like, I won the prize. I don't know what that was. There is going to be, a point where a couple of these guys meet up. Come over to my house and bring your pardon. We'll take a picture and we'll send it to Trump, and they'll both be holding them up and they'll go, well, his signature looks he nails it every time, doesn't he? And then somebody will come in and exact same one. Right. But the same thing about, Sleepy Joe, because it's exhausting. The job is exhausting. He knows it's going to be exhausting because he's already been in there.
Yeah.
He also, the big one is, he is deathly afraid of falling down the stairs now. The stress of going down a flight of stairs. Like, again, to bring it back to where my dad is. My dad, getting him the wheelchair allowed him to have breakfast with us again. And it was lovely. And he was able to come into the front room and sit in the sun, and it was warm and it was good for him. But he wouldn't do it because getting up and into the chair or walking with the walker was so much stress that you could see it, like, that made him exhausted just thinking about it. Right? Imagine having to do it in public. You can imagine, my dad was worried about, like, when company's over, I guess, a little bit, maybe that was it, but really it was just the task. Trump started tapping the banister. He was doing it in the last term, but especially when he was on the campaign trail last year, he's tapping the banister, just letting it know it's there all the time.
Yeah.
The next one, now he's got a death grip on it. When he got off the plane this time, he was death gripping that thing, and there's a video of him sitting down. And I'm sorry I'm not able to do regular shows, or I'll do a retrospective during this time to catch everybody up and give you my take on some of these things. But
I'm all right with that.
Yeah, he gets down the stairs and flops into the limo, into the beast. And to get my dad in bed, I lift his legs and rotate him so he doesn't have to pull his legs up. We're not far, kids. We're not far from him having one foot out of the car and somebody coming over there and lifting his foot up and putting it in. I'm telling
Right
you,
on, man.
it's nearly here, and no one is more aware of it than he is.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe JD Vance is a close second because, man, he's like rubbing his hands together. But I got to tell you something, for all the people who are like, JD Vance will be worse. Oh no, JD Vance will be worse. Nope.
No one will rally behind him.
No one. He does not.
That thing about Trump saying where he's like, I wasn't on the ballot, that's a thing.
Yeah. That it proved it this week. And and they were even talking about having an RNC like Trump rally next year around the midterms. And I have told my story of watching, Reagan do his last speech, where his doctor said it took a year off his life to do that speech at the 92 one. We're there.
Yeah.
We are there. And there's all this talk of is like Vance going to dump his wife and marry Erica Kirk? That's the right wing, kind of royalty talk right now to try and, form two kingdoms together that might actually.
But I mean, I get it, but they're both awful.
Yeah, they're both awful. Right. I agree. And again, she's a trad wife who's taking over the organization, which is not what trad wives are supposed to do, right? You're supposed to stay home with the kids and not work. That's the whole purpose. So what? How's that work?
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys are okay with women in charge right now? We could have had one last year. You could have voted for one.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't do it last year, right?
Yeah.
And again, the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theory goes on and on. Let's take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. And thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. And sorry I haven't been able to do shows during the week, but bless you for joining us today on the show. It means a lot seeing you guys in the chat room. Thank you so much. We'll be back.
What do you think about this? This kind of makes me take a moment. What do you think about folks saying that since Elon Musk and Trump are not palsy-walsy anymore, that's why so many elections went the Dems' way? You think Musk was able to guide any of that?
Yeah, the thinking was that they were able to rig the election his way last year to help him win. There's a strong possibility that happened. It is not right now, though, I think over time anyways, but for a couple of things, Musk has started to recognize that his bread is buttered on the Dem side with solar and electric vehicles and all that kind of stuff. And this
how do you walk back the Nazis? Stuff.
By not. I mean, Kanye met with a rabbi this week, so I guess you can.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and apologized with a Hebrew translator. Which
that's wow.
I mean, we're back in 20.
I'm not convinced, but yeah. I will say,
as far as optics go, though, that's all in. That is all in.
Yep, way to do it.
Yeah,
but it won't matter. He's going to rescind into just business.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing, is that him coming into politics is partly what helped Trump as well. It did guide a bunch of young voters.
This is Tom Hartman, and you're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT.
When you are, when you're in Trump's position where you have to attack the beef producers because of the price of beef, and when you thank you, Robert, appreciate that. And all the, like, he's this close to blaming farmers as well. For the prices going up. Why do they always want to make a living? Why do these people want to pay so many employees? What, and again, we talk a lot on our side, especially about corporate interests and corporate, that to the, corporate greed and the like, which is genuinely a thing. However,
Did I ever tell you about the time there was a band opening up for Convoy, and they had a really weird, the front man had a really weird tendency to describe what the next song was going to be about before he did it. Like, these lyrics are about X, Y, or Z. And for one song, he said, this next song's all about corporate greed. It's called Corporate Greed. And Convoy cannot stop saying that into the microphone while we are playing live.
Right.
It's the best.
So on the one hand, there are certainly, I think we tend to think about corporations like as the big ones, when the majority of corporations are small businesses that are incorporated through Delaware, Nevada, and all that kind of stuff. And, the majority of corporations in the country are less than, I think, 20 people. And then we have the giant ones, of course. But then, you think of like Walmart and Target. That's most people's that's the front-facing corporate experience most people have.
Yep.
Amazon, same thing. And in the case of Walmart and Target, they have a 2% margin on a 2% profit margin, which can dip below into the red very easily. Between COVID and supply shock and all those kind of things, it's easy for them to go, below 5. And if they can't change or want to change their prices, so that, because that'll drive away their customer base, they just have to hope it's temporary and keep it at that margin, right around inflation. That's basically what it is. It's shrunk down much because what they do is they sell in bulk. They sell large volumes of stuff, and that's how they can make lots of money, but it's still only 2% more than it costs them to run everything. So if they want to expand something, if they want to build more stores, and if they want, to end food deserts and all that kind of stuff that we always hear about, they can barely do it already, much less, because if they start, expending a lot of that money, then shareholders start selling the stock because there's no dividends anymore. And they move to something else because, like retirement funds, police retirement funds and teachers funds and all these kind of things, they have money in all these stocks that get dividends. And if the dividend drops to nothing, those giant accounts pick another stock because they've got to be able to pay out their, the pensions to the people that are in them.
Yeah.
So they will drop that stock like a hot potato, so they can't jack their prices up and be fair. So it's a precarious business. The broader you get, it has really thin limbs after a while. And so it's interesting to me that, Trump knows this, at least his people do. Certainly Bessent knows this. Trump, I'll take it back. Trump does not know this. He's been told this. And that's a very big distinction. There's a big difference between what Trump has been told and what Trump knows. And that, I guess that space is widening, because I think he's, again, when your brain turns to tapioca like his, you start, the only thing are things you've heard thousands of times, whether they're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. You believe
those are the thoughts that interrupt him mid-sentence.
That's right. That's when he breaks away and starts telling another story. And that's, during the rallies, it was always like these weird glory days moments. Glory days. Young girls' eyes, glory days. Right? It's throw
that fastball right by you.
That's right. Yeah. He's increasingly stuck in those zones. And so when he starts talking about, like, I've been talking about this for years, what he means is it's a dumb idea that he had a long time ago when he knew even less than he does now. And he's still stuck on it as the solution because he thinks no one's ever tried it, which they absolutely have. We've been down this road. Holly Smoot, anyone? Something DOO economics, voodoo economics.
Anyone?
Bueller. Right. We've been through this before. And when Trump says, make America great again, and the weird folks that follow him, they have I think they need to sit down. It would be good if we had a moment where they said, describe what was great. Describe the great part, because I'm going to tell you, maybe,
Jordan
there was,
Klepper has done this.
yes, maybe there was slightly less immigration or something like that. Maybe that's where you're going. But you know what?
Maybe women couldn't vote.
You know what was really, really different? The amount of guns on the street, the volume, just guns stacked upon guns upon guns upon guns. My dad wanted to give out his guns to his friends because he has all these percussion and flintlock rifles, old-timey guns from the 1800s, worth ridiculous amounts of money, I am certain, but are worth more in this the sort of soul friendship he has with his friends. So he just wants them to have them. They're like, but I can't. He's like, you must. Handing him these 1882 Wesley Richards percussion shotguns or something in these folding cases that look like something that, the royal family has somebody carrying their guns around in when they go pheasant hunting or something, like these leather cases that have been around for 100 years. And he's giving them away to his friends. And there was, and I keep thinking there are guys around here nearby in Kentucky that have, my dad has dozens of them that he's collected over the years and whatever, like you and I in guitars. Right. And some of them been given by friends. Some he rehabbed. He found an old rusty gun and they fixed it up and made it all nice again. And I found my my flintlock. I'm gonna show it at the end of the show today. We dug it out.
I know this is code. I know. Be careful.
Right. I'm going to stand up, not be wearing pants.
Here's my, ladies and gentlemen, my flintlock.
Yeah, right. It still shoots straight. But like he has all those things. There are guys around here that have borderline automatic weapons, AR-15s and all these other guns, like stacks upon stacks of them, like John Wick's basement. In every other house down here. I mean, it's like.
Does everybody keep their basement like covered in a concrete slab?
Yeah, they smash it open. All the
it takes real weapons. So long to get in there.
But it should. So you can think it over.
It should. So you think it through.
Yeah.
3 days, but I'm mad now.
Right. That was the John Wick 7-day waiting period. It's going to take me 7 days to bust open this concrete floor. I'll never forget you'll recall when you and I were in high school at New Trier, I was a big fan of the ninja movies, and Enter the Ninja, Return to the Ninja, and all the Shokasugi movies. And I once babysat Shokasugi's kids at a martial arts tournament while I sat on the side and watched his kids while he was doing a thing. That was fun. But John Wick has to cover all of his guns in concrete. Shokasugi had a piece of paper wrapped around the hilt of his sword so he would never open it again, right? Nice. That was it. Once he breaks that paper, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing, but it was just as sacred as the idea of, it would take as much emotional will and effort to break that seal as it did to bust open the concrete floor with all the gold doubloons and whatever, the Ayn Rand dollars that they pay for everything. By the way, you do know that's where that's from, right?
What?
The John Wick thing where they pay for everything with gold coins. That's from Ayn Rand? It's from Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that the super rich at one point, everything costs $1, a gold dollar, a coin, no matter what it is. And that's how they have their trade and point of value.
Can you see this whisker? Oh, look at all that cat fur. Look at the whisker.
That's solid. Yeah.
That's a good one.
You could keep it. You could clone that cat later from that one. It's got a good,
all right.
It's got a good nub on the end of it.
Behind my ear.
Johnny Million's got his black fingernails on his left hand because it helps you see the tips of your fingers in the dark.
It does.
When you're
what's funny is that it consistently distracts me too. Like they've been black since the election, and I'll be like, ah.
That slammed my hand in the door. Right. I'll before we go to break, I'll tell one story about my dad. That invariably, my dad, we had a wood shop at the house and all kinds of stuff like that. And one time, my dad hit his thumb with a hammer, banging around. And the nail just turned solid purple, and the bottom of his thumb started to swell up. And
that thing came off, didn't it?
Nope. My dad took his buck knife off his belt, flicked it open,
and poked it
right through the top of the nail. He didn't just poke it; he stuck it in, and he started turning it, drilling. Yeah. I'm freaking Johnny out. Yeah, drilled a hole.
That's because I've had a fingernail come off before after I slammed it in the car door.
Yeah, he drilled a hole in the top of it and released all the blood out the top of it, and it just deflated it. Worked just fine. And then he just put a Band-Aid on off the top. Nail stayed on until it grew out. He had a little hole. Worked its way to the
one
end.
last message I want you to give him is from Johnny is never do that again.
Oh, I'm sure he'll go, I'll try.
It's like the end of Arthur when Les Minnelli is putting the alcohol on his face after he got beat up. It's like, all right, so long as you promise to never ever put that stuff on my face again.
Right, yeah. Or in Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, where she's putting the alcohol on his knees after he's like, how'd I get back to the office? She goes, I think you crawled. He looks down, his knees are all scuffed up and stuff, and she's patting alcohol, and he's like, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. Let's get back. He pulls his gun on her. And then he grabs the alcohol away like it's poison, and he pours it out behind him while he's holding the gun on her, so she can't get to it. Yeah. My dad's almost at that point. Last night he wanted to get up several times. And it was that was 5 episodes. All night long. Yeah. So poor Carol, bless her heart, trying to talk him down. And when she can't talk him down, I have to come in there and beat the spotter. And then, so. And
then you sweep the leg, then he's down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Put him in, just choke him out, MMA style. And then he goes, good night. Yeah. It's one of those moments where you really go, I wish the Vulcan nerve pinch was a thing.
Wouldn't that just be great? Just
and sleep, right? Or if I'd have hypnotized him years ago, which is, I think my message to anybody is hypnotize your parents.
So you got the word. Just go up to them and say monkey claw, and then boom, right. Then they're just asleep.
Right? Yeah, that it will come in handy, I promise. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I've show and tell, and then we'll finish the show and it,
you know how this is gonna go. Stick around. These last 13 minutes are gonna be nuts.
I'm not gonna stand up in camera. You hold right there. We'll be back.
Holding. Yeah, you know what? I've never lost a toenail, Aloysius. Or Aloysius. I've been calling you Aloysius before. Aloysius. Yeah, I never lost a toenail. They've bled, but they pretty much just stayed there. I know, Betsy. Gotta be careful with this guy.
Yep. Okay. Show and tell's ready.
Oh God.
Yeah. If you're easily embarrassed, leave the room.
Hey now. I would like these people in the front to move back a little bit, though. I'd like to show you I am very proud of. Remember that from Reality? What a Concept?
Mm-hmm.
Back in 20.
Thank you.
Oh, there's Mount Fuji behind me, by the way, I think. That's what the file name says. Oh.
I am happy, you are happy, let us be happy together, whether the weather is cloudy or sunny. I will always be your funny honey bunny. I am lucky, you are lucky, let us get lucky together, whether the weather is cloudy or breezy. I'll be there to say, hey, come on, let's take it easy. 'Cause isn't it nice to have the friends that you do? And isn't it nice that the sky is so blue? And isn't it nice to say I love you, chugga chugga choo choo, woo woo. I am smiling, you are smiling. Let us smile together. Whether the weather is cloudy or stormy, I will still be there in the morning. I'll be right by your side in the morning. I'll make you breakfast in the morning. I hope that you like cereal.
Yay!
So I'm gonna show these on camera here real quick. This is look out, Johnny Million. Oh, that's nice. So this is my Kentucky long rifle. This is a
I'm moving my head around like it'll make a difference. Oh, cool.
Yeah. This is a
put your wiener there.
Yeah, easy. This is a Herschel house, and that's a flintlock right there. You can see that on there.
Oh, yeah, it's in focus.
And on the top of it, it says Herschel H House for H Sparks the Third. That would be
neato.
Yep, etched in there, and still a here you go. There you go. Still got a solid fresh flint in there.
That could have been amazing. And then you just hear poor Chance on the other side of the room.
Right. And then, and then this is the pistol that goes with it. So this is a that is a handmade flintlock Herschel house. It says,
so all those times you challenged me to a duel,
I was ready.
Serious.
Yes, I was ready. That says H Sparks
I thought he was kidding.
HM Sparks on the side of it. Same kind of.
Does everybody know what the M is for? I almost blurted it out.
McGee.
I know.
Point. Yep. So there you go. There you go. You can see that.
Poor Chance. We know him well.
Yeah. It's got a fresh flint in it, always. And I've got the horn and the bag that goes with this. Look out.
Hey, now look at the horn.
Hey,
now that's what I'm going to show you is I got the horn in the bag.
Right. And then the rod is jammed in here, but this is the rod to drive the powder down there. And you get pour some black powder in there, throw in the wad, put the ball on top of the wad, stamp it down in there, and you're ready to go. And
you are disgusting.
It's true. It's filth. And
throw in the wad, put the rod in there.
Yep. And I don't know that I've ever tried to do it with the rifle, but I can do this while running. I could load this running.
Oh, neat. So you're like Mel Gibson in The Patriot?
Yeah. There was a feller that ran around these parts back when the world was even more savage than it is now. And he was known for being able to run and fill his rifle, like load it up while running over uneven ground. He could do it in 30 seconds or something like that. And what's his name? Daniel Day-Lewis learned the technique for Last of the Mohicans, and he does it at one point. He's running through the woods. It's the exact same technique. It's sort of the flintlock equivalent of those Roman archers that could fire 3 arrows at once.
Oh yeah,
while running. Yeah, it's the same kind of you just build that technique over time. But when my dad was sort of giving away some of his stuff, he asked me if I wanted. He had a couple of banjos. One of them is like the one he sold to Steve Martin back in the day. Steve Martin still has 2 gold tops that my dad fixed up and sold them a long time ago.
Nice.
And he had a really shiny one, and then he had this kind of clunky one that is gorgeous. The inlays are beautiful and all that stuff. I've shown it. I think I have it at the house in LA. But my dad built it with his friend John Dutil, who passed last year. And I said I wanted that one because he made it. It's his. And anyways, these are kind of the same. Like he has some of these Wesley Richards that he has are worth lots of money or whatever. But I wasn't interested. I'm not going to sell any of it, so it doesn't matter. What I wanted was the stuff that we had memory of. So I not only have this and my rifle, which is the one I showed you, the little one, which was made for me when I was a kid. But I have my dad's as well, a full size.
Yeah, so people are asking what year that rifle is. That's from your birth year, I guess.
Well, that rifle was made for me when I was 7. So 7, 8 years old. So 1977.
There we go.
my dad's rifle was made in the 60s, but these were all like handmade, and the barrels all are from, with rare exception, are from original rifles that were used in the, late 1700s, early 1800s. So the barrels are still that piece, and then you build the wood around them and stuff. They rebuild them from there, and then, but he would cast his own barrels too. So they're pretty much the entire thing. And there's a school here in Kentucky now that Herschel House's family, his brothers, formed, where they make these, in the way that he made them exactly. And there's a specific aspect of the Kentucky long rifle, and there would be no America without the Kentucky long rifle. These were the guns that bested the British, and so these are made exactly as those were made. They're not replicas. They are made in the exact same kilns, the exact same wood, and they are made by hand the exact same way. And these have been in my family for decades now, and they will be for many more. And so my small rifle will be Camden's, and then he'll eventually graduate. And one of the things that my dad wants to do, and this is something that he and his buddies do, is that his wishes are to be cremated, but he wants some of his ashes taken to Friendship, where the all of his shooter buddies go to shoot old flintlocks and stuff. And they do this for their friends. They mix some of your ashes into the black powder.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and they do a big 21 gun salute kind of thing.
Yeah. I cannot stress enough to make sure that he is actually dead before you cremate him.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't seem to be partial either way at this point. If
you guys want to start this early?
Yes, he kind of is. He's kind of this, like, let's get
this blanket on my legs or something. But that cremation oven, that looks toasty.
Yeah, if I get you any closer to this fire, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so this, I have been my whole life a member of the NMLRA, the National Muzzleloading Rifle Association, and last year they gave my dad, they put him in the Hall of Fame for the NMLRA, and it's because the first time I ever saw my dad shoot a long rifle, Kentucky long rifle, he split a playing card at 100 yards from the side.
Moly.
My dad's shop, he used to hang his awards, his medallions, his medals for all of his shooting competitions on the door, and it started to pull the door off the hinges. So we had to put a hook in there that's in a stud on the wall, and then it holds all of them. So anyways, I was going to share this last week, but they were busy, dealing with stuff. So I couldn't get in there and get them, but that's my show and tell for the week. That's the piece of this. And so, and again, I appreciate everybody's patience this week as we go through this. I don't know if this is the last week of it, but I think it will be. I think next week, we will probably have some
Just
sort of
from what you sent me yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I actually kind of hope.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
For everybody.
Yeah, and for him. But he just hates it. It sucks.
Oh God,
so,
yeah, it's miserable.
So
and your stepmom's okay?
Yeah, piece by piece. She's doing all right. She's, we're working in shifts.
Yeah.
They got us working in shifts. But
how's your mom?
She's good. She's good. She's dancing in an old folks home today. She does. She and her little dance troupe go and perform for old people.
That's brilliant.
So, yeah, and so she was. No. They don't want to kill him. This is the kind of weapon that was in use when they came up with the Second Amendment. And you can see why everybody might need one, because you're only going to get one shot off about every minute and a half. So I'll shoot, then you shoot, then he shoots. And while I'm reloading, we'll get to 5 people in. We're back to me.
Yeah, maybe the extended magazines weren't something they really considered.
That's right. I'm going to, today, like we're just going to spend the rest of our time, being with him and filling him with love and biscuits, whatever he'll eat.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yep. And again, I love you, Johnny.
I love you, Hal. Just keep in mind, like, not only did people not come swinging by my dad's place when he was at his worst, but after he passed, the people who showed up just told really questionable stories about him. It was weird.
I told my dad.
Did you tell your dad the story that I told you? Yeah, I think it was last week that I mentioned that when I was just starting playing, I was sitting on Hal's couch in his house in, was that Wilmette?
Winnetka.
Woodland. And
yeah.
And I was playing an acoustic guitar that was probably Hal's dad's, and he asked me how I'd been playing, and it had been about a year at that point, and he said, "Well, you got a knack for it," and it changed everything. And maybe it was, it was from outside the family. They didn't have to say, you have to say that. You have to say I'm gonna. Yeah. So your dad made me feel like I could do it.
Yeah, he was,
and he was really like passive about it too. Like he knew how to make it land. He's like, "Oh yeah, you got a knack for it," and he went on to doing something else.
Yep. And he was saying to me, like, you got more work to do. But lately, he told Sam Bush, he goes, "Hal's a better guitar player than I am," and I was like, "Oh man."
Wow. We're at the top of the hour, my man.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Chicago.
Okay. I almost made it.
I'm gonna hug the poo out of you when I get to see you again, my friend.
Well, I will save it up. Make it work.
And don't wear out those massaging fingers. They're good.
I'm endless, and my strength in that area is never ending. So that's good.
Excellent. That's good to hear.
Love you. I'm going to sign off, and thanks to everybody
All
in Chicago for putting up with the tech issues we have. And I don't, honestly, with the flights and everything, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fly home whenever this is or what the timing will be.
Right. Things are nuts.
I may end up driving back, which would mean, I'll come through Chicago just because maybe.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Feel what the timing is and just do a tour of the old places.
I could feel good.
Yep. So, love you.
I love you too,
Thanks.
Hal. You hang in there, my man.
Thanks. Okay, I'm going to try to figure out how the sign off on this.
Yeah, how does this even end?
It's all right. It's good. There's a graphics thing, and then it allows me to put in it's in the design, and then there's video clips. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Oh, I've got a leave button.
Okay. All right. And then I'll do this first, and then you can go. I love you. I'll talk to you later.